Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Another day, another commitment for this Alabama program as Kalen DeBoer lands the commitment of three-star offensive lineman Mal Waldrip from the state of Alabama. And the first thing that's coming to my mind and what I think Alabama fans should be fired up about is what Alabama is doing recruiting the lines of scrimmage, right? I think the big question we had about Kalen DeBoer coming to Alabama, it was on the recruiting trail, but specifically along the lines of scrimmage, right? We didn't have many question marks about Kalen DeBoer getting quarterbacks and wide receivers to come play with him at Alabama because his track record of putting together prolific offenses and developing quarterbacks, wide receivers to the NFL, that follows him from Washington. But you take a look at, could Kalen DeBoer beat out Kirby Smart and Hugh Freeze on the recruiting trail for line of scrimmage players? That was the question we had. In the last 48 hours, Kalen DeBoer in this Alabama program land two massive commitments on the offensive line. We talked about Michael Carroll yesterday afternoon. Now we talk about Mal Waldrep, who a three-star prospect, according to 24/7 Sports. You take a look at the offers, the programs that wanted this kid on the recruiting trail. Auburn, Florida, Tennessee, Georgia, Michigan. This was a player that I think is a lot more coveted than what his recruiting ranking necessarily says. Really fired up about this one. Excited to get into the film. Before we do, and as always, just want to say thank you to you guys. It's been a blast covering this Alabama program on the recruiting trail. The amount of support y'all continue to show to the fellas truly does mean a lot. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Sounds like we got a lot more Alabama commitments to talk about in the next couple of weeks and months. And without further ado, let's get into Mal Waldrip. And I think the first thing you got to talk about is this kid is about as polished as it gets. And does Mal Waldrip necessarily have the upside of some other offensive linemen that we see in this 2025 class? Probably not. But I think this is a kid that you are absolutely hitting on if you're Alabama and Kalen DeBoer, a guy that when you turn on the high school film, it's really hard to see him not being a multi-year starter for this Alabama program somewhat down the line. And why I think that's really noteworthy and something that we talk a lot about in terms of roster construction, hitting on your offensive lineman out of high school is extremely important. Now, you look at the wide receiver spot, the running back spot, those are positions that you can address in the transfer portal. So you can kind of afford to take some risk in terms of bringing some guys in that might have some high upside, but might not pan out. On the offensive line, it's a little bit different. And you want to make sure you're hitting on your offensive linemen, guys that are going to be contributors for this program, because it's a lot harder to hit on offensive linemen in the transfer portal. So you want to make sure you get the high school ranks right. And this kid just seems to be an SEC caliber offensive lineman. You get into the film, one, extremely impressive in pass pro. At 6'5", 320, really, really good footwork. Deals with speedier edge rushers, can deal with kind of rushers that want to go speed the power. I think pass pro is what stands out to me the most. He can move bodies off the run game. He checks a lot of boxes for you, and I think he gives you some of that versatility. A guy that could certainly play tackle with the length and frame that he has at 6'5", 320, certainly could play guard as well. You turn on the film and say he's just kind of a box checker. Really, really, really clean film from this kid. Does not rely too much on the physical traits. He is a polished up offensive lineman. And you're going to see it in pass pro as you begin to roll through the film. First rep here, playing at left tackle. I think just really, really impressive footwork in pass pro. A guy that's going to try to test him with a little bit of speed on the edge. He handles it really well when he's engaged. And this is kind of why you think he can play guard too, because when he's engaged, this is about as dangerous of a football player as you'll see. He gets those long hands on you, he's putting you in the dirt. But really, really good feet in pass pro. That's probably the thing that stands out the most as you continue to work through the film. You continue to see some really good pass pro reps, and I think that is really noteworthy because you don't see many tackles do that at the high school level. Again, when he's engaged, really, really strong, really big-time grip, big-time strength in the upper body, but moves his feet really well in pass pro as well. I think this is a guy that there's not many things that you're going to ask him that you can't really do. You see him get it done in the run game as well. We'll see that a couple reps down the road, but really, really good feet, really good anchor. You see him here. This is kind of textbook right here, working up the second level in the run game, going up, picking the second level defender up, a guy that can operate in space, climb to the second half of the defense. That's something that you really want to see from offensive linemen at the high school level. Continues to work in pass pro, really, really strong in the upper body, consistently puts guys in the dirt, and has really, really good grip strength. I think this is a really polished offensive lineman that seemingly is going to be a starter in the SEC for years to come. Some nice flexibility in the upper body as well. You take a look at what Alabama, is doing on the recruiting trail. I mean, this has to get you fired up, right? Top 3 class in the country. You have your quarterback of the future committed in Kalen Russell. You're filling up the offensive line class as well. Michael Carroll. Now you add Mal Waldrip. It sounds like Alabama's in it for 5-star Ty Haywood from the state of Texas. It seems like Alabama is checking off a lot of the boxes that you want to see on the recruiting trail, right? Getting your quarterback of the future locked in. You have some really nice pieces on the defensive line, some really, really nice pieces at the linebacker spot. Now you add a guy on the offensive line in Mal Waldrep. You got 2 offensive linemen already committed. It sounds like they're making some moves with some more guys on the recruiting trail. Alabama continues to roll on the recruiting trail. We'll cut it there. Appreciate you guys rocking with the fellas. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys. And we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.